Today's video, we're gonna talk about buying Telegram ads and making money promoting your product or service there. Big money, okay? So there's two primary ways to run Telegram ads that, at least that I'm aware of, and I came up with ad agency, so you can make money for yourself that you can use for yourself. Okay, I'm gonna go through what both of these are. I got two separate case studies that I'm gonna go through on this video that'll tell you also just how profitable these methods are when you use them for yourself. So make sure you stay to the video all the way through so I can go through the hard numbers on these campaigns that we've ran in the past or consulted clients in the past with that were running these on their own. So with that said, okay, the two primary ways that you make money with Telegram ads that I am aware of at this time is you promote ebooks or other similar content-based resources on Telegram, or you market another Telegram group, of which you rack up the members of a group that you're trying to build up. And then once that group is built up, you can milk it for a bunch of revenue. For that matter, there's not a minimum amount of members required. It's just a certain percentage of the people that are in your group are gonna buy something. Depending on your market and the product size or cost, you could get anywhere from 1 in 1,000 to buy if you're selling new homes to 10% to buy if you're selling, a $50 item to the members of your group. So it's all relative, if you will. Now, obviously, the more expensive whatever you're selling is, or the more upsells that you have, the easier Telegram ads are gonna get to work. With the case studies I go over here, you're gonna understand why, because the cost is not, it's cheap, don't get me wrong, but it's also not ridiculously cheap either. You gotta be able to either sell something expensive or know how to create a funnel where you're selling something and then you're selling something else to somebody that buys that thing and then selling something else, or just knowing how to deliver an amazing service or product so people wanna keep coming back and you have so-called high lifetime value of a customer or client at your firm. So that's a whole separate topic. I will go through what both of these methods are so you understand how to do this for yourself. So getting into it, method one, where you are going to offer a free resource on the Telegram groups that you're going to be on, which, by the way, with Telegram, there's two main ways that you can advertise on there that are effective that I've found anyway. One of which is you're going to market to people that are inside the groups already. So between the messages within a group, you can have ads, in short. Also, the second way that's effective is in the search results, when people are looking for groups, you can actually show up there. And both of these are effective. More so, you want to use, of course, if you're promoting a group, both of them, whereas if you're just running content, i.e. method one on my whiteboard here, you're going to just run the traditional ads that are in between posts on a single independent group. For that matter, you could target more than one group. I've seen other people, I've researched some other content in reference to Telegram ads, and I've heard people saying, hey, if you're marketing a stock course, try marketing it on a group about general finance. That in itself may work, but that's certainly not what you're gonna wanna do up front. And it probably won't work in reality. If you're selling a stock product, you need a stock group. Just flat out, and 90% of the time, that's what's gonna be effective, which means you're gonna be capped to what you can do on the platform, but hey, you're not supposed to run your whole business off one platform anyway. It's there for the taking if you're in a niche where there's groups relevant to what you're doing. If there were groups, for our own agency, we run a PPC agency, and if there were groups there where people are talking about PPC, I would advertise inside those groups. That would be the perfect place to advertise. And it's better than Reddit ads because unlike Reddit ads, there's people talking about PPC there, for instance. Reddit doesn't guarantee you're gonna be within the posts on the PPC section. And there's a lot more bots there, as per what I've found. Whereas with Telegram, there's less bots, cost per click's higher, but the traffic's really good quality in actuality, which is rare for a second/third tier ad platform such as Telegram ads. But also you can actually guarantee it's only gonna show up in that group, which is actually what you want. With Reddit ads, you ultimately can, if they've been to a certain subreddit in the recent past and they're now on something else, on a different subreddit, your ad can show up for them. And that's bunk, but that's Reddit trying to make more money. Telegram may screw this up at a certain point, but for now, you can just get on a certain group, and that's great. So with that said, if you're gonna do what we did in the case study here, promoting an ebook, you're gonna run your ads on certain groups that are relevant to what you're doing. We, in this case, advertised in a real estate investing group / groups, actual class about real estate investing that we wanted to ultimately sell at the end of the day, which if you're wondering why we're doing things this way, when you go directly at somebody, when you're running any kind of display ads, whether it's Telegram ads, Facebook ads, generally speaking, unless you're selling a product and a traditional like e-commerce product, not a course or something like that, it's very hard to make money going directly at the user, saying, here's a $7 product. People are too skeptical. You got to get them aware and familiar with your brand first. Then you can get them open and be willing to buy something from you. So you do whatever you need to do to get familiarity. Then once you've done that, you've got an audience you can sell to. So when you have like we had with this case study, you have an ebook that basically says how to find the best real estate flipping deals, which is when you're talking about real estate investing, that's the number one thing people always want. They say you make money in real estate when you buy, not when you sell. Whoever can find good deals will make good money. So this was the ultimate guide for that. We marketed it in the real estate investing groups. People clicked our ad. We drove them to a landing page for them to download that file, if you will. And then we had it hooked up to Call Drip itself, which is a program that allows you to turn a form submission where somebody enters in their email, phone number in order to get a certain resource like this, like an ebook, to immediately turn that form submission into a phone call. It immediately calls the salesperson. The salesperson answers the phone. There's a robot that says somebody just filled out the form, press 1 to contact the person who filled out the form. And then immediately, as soon as somebody fills out a form to get an ebook, you can call them right away. So that while they're reading the ebook, you can have it on a delay, of course. You want a couple minute delay. But while they're still reading the ebook, you could call them. And you're getting them while they're hot versus waiting a day later to call them, and they probably ain't gonna answer the phone, and you're wasting your time, you're wasting your money. So that's what we had. And then of course, once they're on the phone with the user, then they can build even more rapport with them. You don't just say, hey, would you like to buy this course or this group, this class? You instead say, hey, I saw you downloaded my ebook about, the ultimate guide on finding property deals. If you have any questions about anything you're reading, let me know. What are you trying to do? How are things going for you in your journey to flip properties? Let them talk for 5 or 10 or 15 minutes. Then you hit them with the pitch. Well, you know what? Based upon what you told me, Mark, you actually would be what you really need. This ebook's great. It's going to get you started. But what you really should do is get in with the other guys that have already put this stuff into play, and that you can meet them in person. We got a group in your area coming up in the next 45 days. I recommend that you go there. Would you want to go there? The cost is $2,000. Yes, it's expensive, but you're going to be able to ask all the questions that you need to find out on how to do this for yourself. And no question, you're going to be able to make money once you've actually been to this class / group. That's the funnel. So with that said, we had about an $8 cost per click on our Telegram ad clicks. Therefore, we had about a $41 cost per ebook download. As a result of that, we had about a $574 cost per sale in terms of marketing expense, which that's not bad considering we're selling a $2,000. The class itself or the group sign up is $2,000, which is it's a 3-day event in a hotel, essentially, in a conference room in a hotel. But we're paying $574 in advertising costs on Telegram ads to get the $2,000 sale. So we're at a 4-to-1 return roughly. Amazing results for something like this. So we get them to download the ebook, we call them, build rapport, sell them the quote unquote upsell on the phone, and we make money. All just from running Telegram ads. We do the same thing on other platforms, but on Telegram, we got this return. And it was as good of a return as we're getting on Facebook. So it's another great platform, as good of traffic as Facebook. Will it stay like that forever? Of course, everything changes all the time. But for now, still doing really good at the time of making this video. So that is one example of how to make money with Telegram ads. Now, the other way that you can make money with Telegram ads is to promote a group. And it just really depends on what you're selling. In some spaces, people are just, they don't want to read an ebook. They don't want to watch a pre-recorded webinar. They just want a Telegram group where they can see other people doing what you're saying that you're doing, that are successful, and to verify that your systems, your methods are effective. Because in a space like stock picking software, stuff like that, people are highly skeptical. The most convincing thing you could do in that type of market is just to send people to a group that's full of successful people. That convinces them more than anything. So depending on your market, maybe this will work for you, maybe it won't. But we had a stock picking alert software that we were trying to ultimately market. We created the Telegram group, and we drove people from other Telegram groups to our group to build it up. We ran testimonial ads and UGC ads. So unlike our traditional ad up here that just said, get the ultimate guide to property flipping and finding property flipping deals that are profitable. In this case, we have an ad that says, I just made XYZ dollars from the signals in this Telegram group. That was one style of ad we did. The other ad, which is a UGC ad, by the way, we had another ad that said, Tom just made $1,400 on his trades in the last 7 days. And Tom is in XYZ group, Telegram group. We ran those two types of ads to drive people to our group to get them in our group. Then we developed the group. You're posting signals, information that's going to help people make a decision on in terms of day trading stocks, what to do. Of that, we're dropping a link in the group saying that we have a stock picking alert software that's based upon a successful trader's methods and built into a software essentially, of which we got about 1.5% of the people that are in that Telegram group to buy it, which that would not be possible if the information that was shared in the group wasn't quality already. So they get a taste of the information manually through these, what they call signals that they're dropping into that group. They see the information's quality so that when there's a drop of a product there, they already kind of trust it. And you're still not going to get 10% of people to buy, but 1.5% of the people that joined did buy, and that's already a really good number you can, generally speaking, work with. Of those people who buy, we have coaching on how to use the software effectively. So once you buy the software, it's, to learn it, a lot of people don't want to go through the huge learning curve. So we have roughly 26% of the people there that are going to be buying into personalized coaching on how to use the software at $300 a pop per coaching session. So that's even more revenue. So going back to what I was saying before, the most successful companies that I've worked with, it wasn't because they were an ad genius. It was just they figured out how to make more money from the people in their market than other people in their market. Dan Kennedy, one of the greatest direct response advertisers out there, has said this himself. This isn't my quote or saying, but it's absolutely true. If you could make more from 2 to 3 times more from a customer than anyone else in your niche, you can afford to buy all the media in your niche, right? I mean, that's just how it works. Ultimately, it even works on our own agency. We can advertise our agency in ways that other people can't because we're able to retain a client for longer. Other things that they can't do, we can do. And then we just naturally are going to dominate once we're in that position. That's the position you want to put yourself in your business. And if you're going to do Telegram ads, it's tough to make money unless you're going to figure out how to upsell people, cross-sell people, retain that customer through having an amazing experience long-term. So anyway, that's the funnel right there. Now, as far as the numbers go here, before I dip into those, I just want to say that for your market, if you're not sure what to do, you could, of course, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. You can also reach out to me at my firm and I'll have a private conversation with you, either through a paid coaching or consulting session, or I let you know what I can do to physically run your whole campaign for you fully and what I can guarantee in terms of results. This is what we do for clients at our firm all the time. And we guarantee you don't have to pay us anything until you get a certain minimum result on your campaign. We're the only agency out there that I know still offers that anything like that. If you're interested in that, you can reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. I also have ad templates available. If you are interested in a template that already works for your niche market, like if you're one of these markets, you can literally buy the ads, landing pages, all of it that work for your market. You copy paste those babies into your ad account yourself and get the same results we're getting with it already, of which we can tell you what results you're going to get with it up front. If you're interested in that, let me know. I've worked in over 100 different niche markets, so the chances are decent that we've already got a template that you're interested in, which makes running a business actually quite simple once you have the actual ad template that works to generate leads and sales in that market easily. So, but going back into what I was saying here, for the stock picking alert software, we had $8 a group sign up. So if you're wondering how much it costs to build up a group per sign up, it depends on your niche. Some groups are going to be more expensive to advertise than other groups. It's ultimately based upon a bidding system like Facebook is, like Google is, like any other mainstream platform is. To get a user into your group about knitting is going to be $1 to $2. To get somebody into your group about stock picking, you're going to be paying $8 to $12. So there's a 10x difference roughly on those two types of niches there. So that gives you a better idea of like what you can do, given that somebody interested in stock picks is 10 times more valuable than somebody interested in knitting in terms of what you can sell to them. So that's why, obviously. With that said, we paid, in terms of advertising costs, we paid an average of $528 per purchase in terms of advertising costs to get somebody to buy the software on a software that costs $500. Now, that sounds like a loss, right? Because it is, at least on paper here, and at least so far. Now, I mentioned that we also could sell these guys coaching. Again, profitable advertisers and businesses that I've ever seen. What they're able to do is just break even on the front end, or even a little bit worse, to get a customer, and then the whole money in that business is made selling more shit to that person, or to keep them around longer in general. Some businesses have residual, reoccurring monthly subscriptions, which at that point is just a game. How long can you keep them? Or, if it's a one-off sale like the software, you only can buy it once and it's not like a monthly subscription. What else can you sell to them? And that's where all the money is, so to say. They sold coaching. 26% of the people who bought the software bought the coaching, at least one coaching session, which some people bought 10 plus coaching sessions. So we're talking about an average of about a session and a half per person here. So we're talking about, instead of $500 per customer here, I pointed to the cost per acquisition. Instead of making $500 per customer, we're making $650 per customer once we factor in the coaching that we're going to be able to ultimately sell to these people. Some of the people going on for a while, if you will. So that is, now we're in the green here actually as well, because we got an average of, ultimately about another 10% to 20% more revenue that we can generate from each customer, because, basically 20%, because we're doing coaching and pushing heavily for coaching for all the people buying the software. Now we can obviously come up with something else. What else do they need? Well, they need coaching. What else do they need? Well, maybe they need, we didn't have other upsells that I was personally involved with marketing here as a part of our funnel here, but get creative. What else do people look at your competitors? What are they selling? Let's come out with that. Once you have a customer that was already happy with what they bought from you, it's not that hard to sell them more stuff. As long as you just keep impressing them for what they're getting, it's worth it at the end of the day. Ultimately, we were at a loss, assuming we didn't sell them consulting. Once the consulting was sold to them, we're at a net positive number, and we have a free stable of customers that we can sell basically unlimited things too, if we could just invent things that they care about, which, by the way, if you are doing this, you should actually go to your group and just say, hey, they already know, like, and trust you already. Hey, is there anything that you think that that you want or wish that you had that I could create for you guys? You could literally be as blunt as this, and they'll literally just tell you. And then you just go make the product and you sell it. Like another course, whatever it is. Maybe it's a physical product. With people with actual influencers, people with communities, they're doing this. The smart ones are doing this so that they can actually monetize their audience at a higher and higher level. So, and again, this all goes into allowing you to pay more for a customer. There's a point where you're able to do it so well, it doesn't matter what the advertising cost on Telegram is, because you're already making a lot of money per person who entered your group. But you can expect, in general, 1, 2, 3% of the people that enter your group to buy something. The key is, how can you get them to keep buying to make the cost of the advertising you spent to get them to join your group worth it at the end of the day? For that matter, I've got a lot of other techniques. I talk about upsells, cross-sells, all that kind of stuff, as well as how to run ads successfully on this channel. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, you should, because all that information is the best that I offer. Along those lines, it's the best information you're going to find on YouTube, because it comes from somebody who spent 20 years doing this kind of stuff that I talk about. And I have, dozens of ad accounts that I'm personally doing the strategy on an ongoing basis to learn what's working, what's not working. And I've been doing that for clients 11 years, and I've got 20 years of overall experience in just advertising in general online to give you the information I'm giving you here. So you should subscribe because of that. And you should also check out my blog if you like the channel already. I've got a fantastic blog on my site at guaranteeppc.com/blog. The blog has step-by-step information on how to make more money using certain advertising strategies that are proven time and time again to get results for our clients. You can use them for yourself. I've got those strategies mapped out on my blog. Check out that. You can find the blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog, and it's all there for you to view as well. If you like the channel, you like the blog as well. So with that said, yes, you can see the two methods here. You either go with information and market that, or you go with marketing a group, which is essentially the same thing. You're marketing information either way. Question is, are you in a low enough trust niche where sending them to a group to butter them up first is better? Or do you just send them to your website right away because the information is so coveted that you don't need to have that extra step of sending them to a group and then buttering them up through the group for a while before they'll listen to you? That said, speaking of groups, I have a Discord group of my own. You can find the link of that in the video description. I have a free PPC course in there just as a thank you of joining the group. But within that group, I'm answering questions, any kind of questions you have about PPC. There's lots of guys from this channel in there talking amongst each other, talking about making money, talking about the methods we talk about on this channel and my blog. Go in there if you want to learn a lot about PPC and online advertising. Beyond that, I also wanted to mention that I am looking for companies to invest in right now. Ultimately, I've invested in several companies in the past couple years where we invest money in terms of advertising spend in companies to get them to grow, as well as free agency resources where we manage and build out their ads. In exchange for that, we will take a percentage of the sales increase in that business. So if it's doing $1 million a year now, we take it to 10. We want, let's say, 4% of the growth of the company. And, for that, tens of thousands of dollars of cash infusion at the beginning to get the ball rolling, moving forward in the business. And we're the best at running the ads. So if you have a great product or service that just needs the best ads, we'll get you the best ads as long as you're willing to make us a partner in your business. Therefore, we're looking to work with companies like this. If you're interested in potentially working with us and want us to evaluate your company to see if it's a product or service we would know we could get great results with, and it's a great product or service in its category that will, honestly, it's better, it just doesn't have awareness yet or needs more awareness, let me know. Reach out to me at guaranteeppc.com for me to have a conversation with you about that as well. With that said, I'm going to wrap it up with that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. If you want to see another video, click here. It is one of my best ones.